Ladies and gentlemen of the community of Manchester United, Mufc Realist TV, welcome to an extra podcast, or we'll call it emergency meeting, to really discuss what is going on out here with the Sheikh Jassim withdrawal. Is it a withdrawal or is it a more of a play from the gallery, from the media as well? We're here to debunk, as per usual, applying logic and reasoning, cool and composed. But before we do, I have some guests in the background, and we're going to talk about what happened in the it's kind of breaking the internet at the moment, spreading like wildfire, from the brilliant transfer journalist Fabrizio Romano in sports journalism, breaking that Sheikh Jassim has kind of withdrawn within the process. What does this mean? Well, that's what we're here for. Let's talk about it, cool and composed. Let's unpack it, following the dots, following the stories. I have Jarvis in the house, I have Mark in the house. I have shared the links to some experts to call in and have the say. But please do not forget to like and subscribe. Let's set up the stage. Let's do this. Bella, take it away.
Welcome back to Mufc Realist TV. My name is Bella. I am a presenter and hostess of this channel. Thank you for tuning in. The show is about to begin. I want you to give this video a cheeky little like and subscribe to our channel if you have not done so yet. As you must agree that I am better looking than Mark Goldbridge,
Bloody
so what
hell.
are you waiting for? Just do it, smash that like button now. Let's go Reds, buckle up, get ready to rumble.
Ladies and gentlemen, from Mandalay Bay, Las Vegas, let's get ready to rumble!
We are live. Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, how you all doing? Extra meeting wasn't planned. I was pulled out from where I was, and I'm back in the studio. Talk to me. What's going on here, gents? Jarvis, you're looking slick. You know, I love your reading glasses.
Thank you.
They're looking
Thank you.
nice.
I need them because I can't see, but yeah.
Welcome, Mark, as well to the studio. I've shared the link to some people to come in. We see on the short
everyone.
notice. First and foremost, like, the VR room, I can see all the panic. I can see a lot of comments come here. First and foremost, let's just take a breath, think fresh, don't hit the panic button, and let's talk about what's going on out right here, right now. The way we're using our logic and reasoning, like, being the voice of reasoning. Does it have legs? Is it panic? Is it more to sort of get Sheikh Jassim to raise his bid, or is it more to increase the value of the stock market while the market is opening on Monday? There's a lot of things that you can take in consideration. This is so fresh to me, so I have managed to pull out certain information. But if I read through what Fabrizio has been writing, if I may share, so I will share the screen here. If we add this on to say exclusive, with the ambulance exclusive, we know that Fabrizio Romano is kind of really good when it comes to transfer markets, and this is his domain. Therefore, I put in a little bit of, with a pinch of salt, with an exclamation mark, to say Sheikh Jassim has further discussions with Glazer family to buy 100%. Yeah, so he's basically saying Sheikh Jassim has had further discussions with Glazer family to buy 100% of Manchester United. Sheikh Jassim's bid proportion has been rejected again by Glazer family. As a result, Sheikh Jassim informed Glazer that he's ready to withdraw the process. Guys, let's unpack this first. I want to hear your thoughts and feelings regarding this breaking exclusive news, because based on this, there's been like, wildfire, like, every single outlet is quoting Fabrizio Romano on this story. That's what it is. It's like a domino effect. BBC is reporting it, Simon Stone is reporting it, everyone is kind of co-tweeting and co-following this narrative. Mark, speak.
Well, I don't know. I feel kind of deflated by the whole news, and
Of course
how
you
it
do.
came out. It flashed across social media. It's running like wildfire everywhere. Twitter, TikTok, But at the same time, when I look back at previous news weeks ago, there's similar articles, similar wording. So I'm worried that maybe they're just taking us through a spin again. At the same time, I hope Sheikh Jassim is using a tactic to say, you know what, here's the cash, take it or leave it. You know what I mean? And at
Mm.
the same time, I hope Jim just doesn't win, because at the same time, it's like that money, that investment, 25%. It sounds like it might be a good thing, and eventually
Okay.
he might take over the club. But at the same time, will he eventually do anything? He could just sit there with that percentage and not do anything forever, and we just in a rut for the rest of the time, like a loop, you know?
Okay. Fair play. And under no shape or form are we always been here as a platform to provide the voice of reasoning, always apply logic and reasoning. At the end of the day, we present you with the alternatives from the both sides of the story, and it's your truth in the middle, like how you receive it and how you are portraying it. We always been reporting on Sheikh Jassim. We always been reporting on Ratcliffe, looking at the manifestos, the bid, and basically the manifestos for most fans has been appealing on Sheikh Jassim's side because he's willing to take 100%, which is my favorite, by the way. I'm not going to stick anything else under the table or under the carpet to say that this has been my favorite, because he clears the debt, is willing to buy 100%, glazes out. Has always been this channel's motto, like full sale only. So it was a little bit baffling when you came out with 25% only minority buyout and stuff like that, from going for 69. But Jarvis, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I see a lot of Man United fans are feeling kind of a panic stage at the moment. It's the red lights are blinking.
Yeah.
I must say my first reaction was that I believe that this is the final showdown, that Qatar is calling out the Glazers' bluff, and now it will be time to show their hands. So I believe that the Glazers have been called. So it's up to them.
Okay. First and foremost, everyone that's tuning in, a big massive shout out for you to making over for this extra short insert podcast. Yali Malmin is in the house. Basically, we will open up the floodlines later on for you to come in and have your say. Keep it brief and simple. Let us know what you think as well as a global fan community. Stephanie Griffiths said, "Big up Mick and MEFC Realist community, carrying on supporting the team, not owners." Continues to look over it. Big up Stephanie. Who else is in the house today so we can give a shout out and continue with the show? David Collins told you that they knew nothing of forensic investigation. How do you know Qatar was buying United? Said, yeah, hold your horses, my friend, because we are about to get it ready to rumble. Continue. Well, this is a shitty day. Can be, cannot be. We're not done yet with this show. I always knew that the Glazers had the intention for a proper sale. Well, they went out for a strategical investment, didn't they, about a year ago during the, I think it was Abraham Glazer that came out and say, during the Thanksgiving that we are under a strategic review. And this is where I'm going to stop right now. The strategic review. Okay, what does this mean? First and foremost, I don't want to be the only one talking here. And I'm not here to say you I'm right or I'm wrong. I've never been the case. I always provide you with a fair assessment of the analysis of what's been printed there. It's nothing to say if Jassim, or let's say if Ineos or Sir Jim Ratcliffe came in 2 years ago with this proposal, most of a Manchester United fan would have taken this. Honest to God, yeah, but not on 25%, because according to 25% is not enough. So let's go back into Fabrizio's story. Let's go back into Fabrizio. Big up everyone, because I, like you, just got this bombarded, and I was like, oh my God, what's going on here? Like, every fan channel is reporting the same. And, is it a winning bid or is it just an assumption? If you go back to the story here, guys, so if you're with me, and that it's kind of withdrawing from the process. What if I tell you that about 3 months ago there was the same story? Okay, nothing new. And to prove you the point is this was published 4th of June. Man United takeover, Sheikh Jassim could pull out of the Qatari keen toward awkward scenario. This is what basically was reported on the 4th of June, 3 months ago. It's basically calling the bluff to say, we believe that, we have put in an essential bid. We're not going to raise a bid again. And that's it. They're not going to pull out from the entire purchase of Manchester United, but they're not going to raise the bid. Simple as that. So, on the other hand as well, similar situation happened to Newcastle. Reported by the New York Times. Saudi Arabia withdraws bid to buy Newcastle United. Okay, so let us all think together. Let us all think together. Instead of me telling you, I just presented you what's out there. All right. 4th of June, same story came out that he's not going to, he's going to withdraw from the process. Everyone remembers this story. Oh my God, Qatar is going to withdraw, right? Same story comes out now again. He's going to withdraw. But that doesn't mean he's pulling out from the bid. Does it say anywhere from Fabrizio Romano or anyone else that he's pulled completely out of the race by spending 11 months on this bid? I didn't see that. Did you? Mark?
I haven't. And to be fair, it's like I just don't understand it right now. So I'm a bit at a loss right now. So I'm just processing still most of it.
Okay. So let's open up our minds, collective minds. I want to have a collaboration. Like I want to have a sort of a brainstorming. Like what's been presented to you today causes you a panic straight away without thinking, oh my God, this is the end. I know. On the other hand, we know, or at least I've been trying to tell people that the financial end of the year review was due on the 20th of September, 22nd of September. They've been delaying that on purpose, right? For a simple reason that this will call the Glazer's hand. By obligation to all the stakeholders, by the financial stakeholders, New York Stock Exchange, everything else, the end of the review report must disclose either if it's a sale or if it's an ongoing process. For some reason, it's been delayed. And even if the Sun came out, what's his name, Neil Custis came out to say, you will find out at the end of October. Well, they have been given a deadline by the 31st of October because they have to discuss and show their hand. In order to do so, when you have a board meeting like that, you have to present to the stakeholders about the financials. You have to say, this is where we are at in this process. We have bidder 1 and bidder 2, and therefore, you will compare the apples to apples. We have chosen to go with this 100%, or we have chosen to go with this minority. There's been some challenges from Lindsay Train, Boeing Group, and Aries and all that stuff, right? 1.5 billion is not enough. No. Could it be, Jarvis, as well, that, as what you said, that this is always the case, that they're leaking out the story to increase the stock market?
Well, I just want to say, how can we trust our place, our trust in Fabrizio Romano of the latest reports? Now Sky and BBC are doing the same. Why are they breaking the biggest news of this year when it's still under NDAs? And the Daily Mail is reporting that Ratcliffe 25% bid is accepted. Daily Mail. How is that possible?
Well, accepted means accepted.
Like
yeah. Listen, he was given time to restructuring his deal. If it's accepted, that means that I have accepted his part of the bid. Nobody's really had exclusivity in this case. 92 Holding Foundation had the bid already accepted a couple of months ago. They're not going to increase the bid. He's been given time to restructure due to that financial end of the year report meeting. So he had a time and deadline to restructure and submit this. So now they're going to have this review. Pure logical and simple. This is what happens in the business world when you have a merger and acquisition. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Right.
But I just want to finish my thought, Mick, and this
sure.
But I have my doubt about this. It seems like a deceptive strategy And if we look ahead for Monday, the stock price will plummet, and I believe that the big sharks, will eat up the small investors, swoop up everything they can, and 2 weeks time, who knows what's going to happen? But it's the end
And
of
what
the
does that mean?
financial year. So someone will be rich. Maybe the rich will
I
be
have
richer.
a person that can explain this perfectly fine. His name is Paul White. He's almost as bold as Eric Ten Hag, but he's more beautiful
Almost.
bold than Ten Hag. Welcome to
So,
this emergency meeting, Paul White. We've been having numerous podcasts, you and me. Like, I'm
Yeah.
trying to be cool and composed, but I want to hear from you.
unfortunately, guys, the bigger story has broke. Bloomberg have confirmed the story. Bloomberg have confirmed the story through their sources, and people need to understand there's been a change of response from the 9-2 Foundation, and this has been confirmed by Bloomberg as well. So every bidder, every party in this process up to this point, when asked anything about this process, their line has always been, we cannot comment on this due to us being inside the process. The line from the Qatars have now changed to, we cannot comment on this due to our legal obligations, as in the NDAs. Their line has changed. Bloomberg has now reported that they have pulled their bid out. This changes the dramatic of the process completely, because now the Glazers, when it comes to their financial review, only have one option, either now no sale or Sir Jim's offer, because the Qatars have pulled themselves out of it.
How sure
Apparently,
you
the
are?
way, Bloomberg, if you follow anything in business, once Bloomberg confirm a story in the business world, I'm sorry, but 99.9% of the time, their information is fact-checked and correct. Jarvis is right. When I seen Fabrizio Ornstein in that, I was like, is this a last-ditch tactic? Once Bloomberg confirmed the story, that theory is out the window. And I'm disgusted at the fact that the Qataris are gone. But this has obviously been on the cards for a week. Mick, as you said, and we were talking about before with the financials
this
coming
morning,
up. Yeah, the financial situation, I said, any news that comes out at this point, it will not be coincidental. The financials are coming out. There's probably going to be a board meeting to confirm the financials, and I have a funny feeling the board meeting will also confirm the outcome of the strategic review. And unfortunately, what has happened is what I talked to you about, Mick, before, is the Qataris were always going to react to this offer for Sir Jim. They have reacted. They upped the bid, and the bid was rejected. Because, I'm sorry, Sir Jim has given the Glazers the goose that lays the golden eggs. He's given them a chance to stay on and get a higher valuation down the line. If reports are to be believed, we have to get confirmation on the numbers, but his valuation of his structured bid is $1 billion higher than what the Qataris were offering in cash right now. And you have 2 Glazers that want to stay on. You have 4 Glazers that want to be paid. If 2 Glazers are saying, we do not want a full sale under any circumstance, and somebody comes along and offers £1 billion extra 3 years down the line, the other 4 siblings are going, if we don't agree to this deal, we're not getting any money. So logic dictates they take this deal. And all we can hope is in the Sir Jim deal, there is some form of him being a member on the board, him investing some type of funds into Manchester United through a share issue. So he buys 25% of shares. He then does a share issue as an affiliate of the company, which allows him basically to give a loan to Manchester United. And then he can stipulate how that loan is then spent. So that loan will need to be paid back to him, but that will actually be paid back to him for when the company is completely bought over. So that money will actually come out of the Glazers share down the line, which may explain why he's gone £1 billion over the valuation. So if he invests 300 million in now, they can claim that back future down the lines through when they purchase the shares back. But when that 300 million goes into United, he could have stipulations in the contract to say, I decide how that money's spent.
So I have not seen the Bloomberg report. I guess it's the Helier again.
Yeah, it's a confirmed report that went over the Bloomberg terminal. As I say, if people that don't know who Bloomberg is, every brokerage in the world has subscribed to what they call the Bloomberg terminal, and it's a terminal that gives them the Bloomberg news 5 minutes before they publish it, because their news is that reliable for stock decisions. So they're always given that news first, and you can subscribe to it.
No, I'm just playing the devil's advocate because
always. I agree with devil's advocate, but I'm sorry, when they speak, 99.99% they're
This
accurate.
came out from original because what I'm trying to, it's been a domino effect. It's been Fabrizio Romano, and then of course it's gone, and then Bloomberg confirming as well. So
yeah, Bloomberg are like
okay,
the
so
very
Bloomberg's getting their source from in UK, at least from the INEOS side of things, as per my understanding. So I always try to say not to be sensational, just wait for market reaction, to say like, wait a couple of days to see how this will react, right? I'm not going to cry wolf as of yet, like, what this means, if this is true, this is bad for Manchester United.
Oh.
Very bad. This is very, even worse than having the Glazers on, right?
What you probably find has happened with Bloomberg is Bloomberg just haven't approached the 9-2. They've also approached Ryan, and they've also probably approached the Glazers PR people as well. And
Well, they
instead
have
of them being,
NDA.
yeah,
They
but
have no
instead of them
comments.
saying, instead of them saying we are in a process, if they've changed their terminology to the reply to Bloomberg, which usually happens in M&As and business decisions, to instead of we are in an ongoing process, if they change the terms to we cannot talk about this due to legal due to legal reasons, that is a confirmation that that news you're receiving is true, and expect and respect what they're expecting now. Bloomberg is before the stock market opens, because I don't think it opens on Monday. I have to double check that. I believe it's a holiday for the stock market on Monday.
Has Reuters
this
come
week.
out yet?
Not yet, but they're probably double checking their information as well. But Bloomberg and Reuters, they're at the same tier level when it comes to business M&As. Sorry, 2 wee seconds, guys.
I don't think he's pulled out. I agree with Jonathan Liljenberg. I don't think he's pulled out. And based, the same story was circulating about 3 months ago. He might have. Okay, he's busy. Yeah, he's muting himself. Yeah, I don't know. Like, this is so fresh, so I haven't not seen the Bloomberg report. Has anyone read the Bloomberg report?
Yes, I did.
Have you?
Right
Can
away.
you talk?
Yeah. So it was Gilles Turner and David Hellier. And
Same.
basically they're saying the same as all the others, that the Qatari group led by Sheikh Jassim has withdrawn from the bid to buy Manchester United. So basically that's it.
So they're just following up on the Fabrizio Romano tweet.
Yeah, but they've confirmed their story. That's what they've done. They've looked at the story, they confirmed it. And as I say, I agree with Jarvis.
It depends on how you confirm. I mean, I'm just trying to explain how you confirm.
Terminology. It's the terminology of language. So when they get a story like this, you approach a person in a public takeover. The general line and the line through this whole process, and every reporter has always said it, anytime they ask for a comment, is we are currently still in a process. The line that Bloomberg received, the same line that every other reporter received when they've asked the 9-2 and all, is we cannot comment on this due to legal limitations.
Right.
That change of line is basically, in business world, code terms for, yeah, you're right, but we can't tell you you're right. It's the change of line. And it is, people may think this is stupid or insignificant, but this is a very significant terms of terminology when it comes to business deals. Once you go from your status quo to a different line, it's the same. I think Bloomberg would be reporting that Sheikh Jassim has won the bid if it came out that he submitted a bid and it was 100% takeover, and he said the same line, we can't talk because of legal reasons. They would see that as a confirmation he's won the bid.
Okay.
The change, the terminology is what's done it for me.
I'll just, I'm very factual and I never forget things. Like, what's been printed, I want to just pull this back into the 4th of June, basically, to say that Manchester United takeover Sheikh Jassim could pull out as Qatari keen to avoid awkward scenario. This is to say, if we're going to read this written by the Express, right? There's numerous of articles that's been printed back in time 3 months ago. There is a say he's ready to pull out this potential takeover Manchester United. Can somebody pull out that so we can see? Can you pull out Jonathan Liljenberg's chat? We don't see Paul here.
No, it's okay. You don't need to see me.
Can you not pull any comments right now, please? Moderators, thank you. Sheikh Jassim could be ready to pull out his potential takeover Manchester United, continues to say here. Sheikh Jassim could pull out a potential takeover Manchester United if it's been claimed the 9-2 holding will leave negotiation. They will leave the negotiations to avoid awkward scenarios if it becomes clear they're not the preferred bidders for the Glazers. You remember this story, guys?
Yes.
Okay.
But when they were asked about this story, their comment is, "We're still in a process." It's sorry, it's down. This whole news has been confirmed by one change of terminology from "we are currently into a process" to "we legally can't talk about this." That change is what's caused this reaction, and that small little change has caused Bloomberg to go with their
Well, just
article.
because one sentence we cannot talk about it, it's just basically adhering to the NDA, right?
Yeah, but it's the change of terminology. When it's in business, terminology is king. The terminology of how you word things, especially when it comes to public M&As, is paramount. That is why when you're asked
Oh.
questions, the brokerage always tells you what line to say, and that is, "We are currently in a process." Sir Jim has said it on several occasions. The 9-2 have said it every occasion. Once the
I'm not.
terminology
I'm not
changes,
down. The line that I'm towing is not. I'm not downplaying anything. I'm just open for a possible scenario to be cool and composed until you see further development. Right? It's too early to judge. That's what I'm trying to say.
I usually would agree if, as Jarvis said, if it was Fabrizio Romano, Ornstein coming out of it, I would agree. There's a lot of wiggle room. There could be a line here, but I'm sorry, when one of the biggest reputable business papers in the world are saying it, they don't say it on
Ready
a
to
whim.
withdraw is not the same as withdrawn.
No,
Maybe
it's
maybe
bids
it is.
withdrawn.
How do you know it's been withdrawn? How
That's
do
because
we?
that's what they're reporting. This is the thing. They've asked the question to the 9-2 Foundation: Have you
And who's
withdrawn your
given the
bid?
answer?
The 9-2 have found it when they said we are not, when they haven't used the line "we are in a process," and they've changed the line to say we cannot comment on this due to legal things. I'll let somebody else talk if but it literally is that one change
Anything
of
else coming
line
out from the
confirms
Middle
it.
Eastern, Al Jazeera, or anything like that coming out?
Not that I see yet.
Okay. I let dogs lie for here, but I would like to see more factual stuff coming out more than because I've seen this before, right? I've seen this like it spreads like wildfire. Somebody starts and then it goes like domino effect on a Saturday, and of course it's going to affect the stock market and the financial market when it's opening up. And I don't think they have withdrawn. It's the same thing that they feel like they've been pushed in a corner to raise the bid, and they said we already put a substantial bid in, so they kind of felt like, no, we're not going to up our bid here, because that's been kind of a little bit of a gamemanship, what people been saying. Maybe it's been the media's creating this narrative of opting the bids. Bloomberg, Reuters, yeah, exactly. I'm waiting for Reuters and Algeria as well to confirm it. As soon as Reuters and Al Jazeera, those big ones, also coordinates with this, then I totally accept it.
I wouldn't be surprised if you see a halt in trading because of this news. I wouldn't be surprised. As I say, generally, this news coming out, you can be very suspicious, but you also have to look at the news and the timing and the situation and how it was confirmed. We've had these stories, sensational stories about Sir Sheikh Jassim winning the bid, Sir Jim pulling out the bid by British media press, by the Telegraph, by Romano, by Ornstein, by Keegan. But what you haven't had before in this entire process is once they've put them stories out, within less than an hour, Bloomberg confirming it. That hasn't happened at all.
Ivo Bosic is saying here, Mick, read Romano's latest sentence again. Sentences and words. It says they are ready to withdraw, not they have withdrawn, Paul. They are ready to withdraw. And this comes down to the play again. That same article and stuff was written June the 4th. They are ready to withdraw. It's a gamemanship.
Sorry, I'm looking it up on myself just to make sure I see the wording, because I'm going by, as I say, Fabrizio Romano. Yes, I did remember him saying that, but I'm just trying to bring up the actual Bloomberg quote in their headline to see what terminology word, because I can't remember exactly what they said now. I'm trying to find the post again. Sorry, 2 seconds. I have a lot of messages on my phone, so I'm trying to remember where I've seen the bloody post.
He goes to say Sheikh Jassim have committed an additional then he goes into the figures to say that that he's pledged a certain amount.
Yeah, so if you look up the Bloomberg post, Bloomberg at Business, their terminology and their words are very clear. A Qatari group has withdrawn its bid to buy Manchester United, paving the way for British billionaire Jim Ratcliffe to gain control of the storied football club. Bloomberg have used very black and white language there that they have withdrawing its bid. Yet again, Fabrizio Romano didn't mince his words. Bloomberg haven't minced their words. They have. As I say, I would be sitting here right now jumping up and down with joy if Bloomberg would came out and said that the Qataris have won the bid for United. I would be going, it's done, it's over, it's completed, I'm happy, it's the best scenario. But what we've got here, we've got an instance of a story we don't want, and emotion is playing over logic.
No, it's not that we don't want, it's just that I am trying to unpack who is saying what, right? There's different wordings that you can phrase. Where is the sources coming from? Is this a leak coming from the Ineos side of it? What is the response of the Qatari side of it in that case? Because we always said that once Qatari entered the race, they're confident they're not going to lose. Where did that happen all of a sudden? That's the thing.
Yeah, but generally, you also then have to look at other business deals. This is following the same type of structure and not any other M&As do. You have a big breaking story in two bidders where one bidder is pulled out. Very quickly, Mick, you're going to see a club statement within the next. I would not expect if you don't see it in the next week confirming that the review is over.
You and me, you and me had a morning conversation, lengthy morning conversation, and we said, he had 2 weeks to restructure his bid, or one month to restructure his bid, which has been presented and accepted.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. It's been accepted. They're going to have a financial review board meeting end of the financial year where they're going to present the two outcomes. Right? Could this be a case that they have been accepted with this 25, the restructuring of the bid?
Yeah. Generally, what you find in this type of situation, the major holders would accept this type. They would look at all reviews and present the bids to the board. The problem here you have the major shareholders that own 90% of the vote are the board and are doing the review. So what's happened here most likely is they've accepted Sir Jim's premise of his bid. They've communicated that to Qatar. Qatar have responded with an upped bid. I believed that once Qatar responded with the up bid, they would look at the money and take the money. But what's happened is the Glazers rightfully said, when we go to the board, we're going to still suggest Sir Jim's bid. And then rather than them getting rejected on a board level, what Qatar have done is what any smart business person does in this thing is gone, we'll make it easy for you. We're out. That's it. We're done. We don't want to have a dog in this fight now because it saves face. It shows rather than them being rejected, they've basically said, you're overvaluing your company. It's not worth the money you're asking for. We'd be stupid to pay it. It's just I would hate to say it's a matter of fact, but it's how the business world works. And I know football people don't do a lot of business looking in. I love business. I do a lot of research with business M&As and stuff like that.
That's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Worst case scenario then.
If worst case scenario, it's a no sale. That's the worst case scenario.
Oh no, Paul. I mean, you and me, we speak a lot. We had a lengthy conversation today. I mean, between you and me, we can discuss a lot of things that we don't say on the camera and stuff like that. But worst thing scenario, I mean, if this is then opted to be true, though, if for some reason they're going to have this end of financial review meeting where basically they have to, it's forcing the hand of the Glazers. Yeah.
Cats are all mad around me.
Yeah, I also have cats, I understand. Which basically forces the hand of the Glazers to show the hand, basically, what's been going on for the past year. They basically have to disclose is it sale, no sale, or is it ongoing process. Now, for some reason, it's been kept on hold, but they've been given some, how do you say it, extension to the 31st of October, right? Now, I guess that, the only way we will find out, and, I did a tweet today, the only way we will have a proper announcement will probably be after this board meeting, because that will sort of out.
I think Reuters have just come out, Nick. I've just got sent a message.
Reuters?
Yeah. I'm just trying to check it now. And apparently they came out. I'm trying to find the quote. Somebody said they've spoken, but I don't see a quote from them.
Is it Araban Sen? Oh, we're doing a watch along here. All of a sudden, extra.
Sorry, I'm just trying. Apparently, they have, but I don't see anything from them yet. So Could be somebody jumping the gun. Yeah, I
Big
don't
up, Karen
think
Reid. We will see. I'm not panicking as of yet, but I'm trying to say, like we did last podcast, you and me, we
Okay.
were kind of preparing to say, yeah.
I just saw the Reuters out here now a couple of minutes ago. It says Qatar's Sheikh Jassim refuses to raise to $6 billion Manchester United bid, sources say. So it basically says that Sheikh Jassim refuses to up his bid. That's what Reuters are saying.
But that's exactly what happened here. There's exactly the same story as what I'm diluting to. Simple journalism to go back in timeline to say this is exactly the same thing. Isn't it? Or is it just me?
No. Yeah, you can say that there, but that's a tabloid. What you have to look at is the credible sources and credible levels when it comes to reporting.
If Reuters are not, if Reuters and Aramband saying, which is another dog that is not have a leg in that fight, it's not confirming what everyone is saying. It's just basically saying what I said earlier when I opened the stream. They are confident in their bid and they will not fall to raise the bid any higher. Right. This for me sounds like it's a trap to squeeze as much money as closest to 6 to 7 billion, right?
So apparently more quotes are coming out from Ineos as well. So it's as close to Ineos and
Mr. Aramband Sen. This is the first time he actually writes something since he broke that article about exclusivity and stuff like that. So
I still can't see the art. Does anybody have a link to it? They can post in the chat or something because I can't find it.
Post it to the chat.
Post the link in the chat. Give me 2 seconds. Here it comes.
So I can copy it and put it on the jumbotron.
Yeah. Just because, as I always say, I don't want to comment on anything until I actually read it myself. If you know what I mean.
No. I'm very particular because I haven't had time to make calls or anything like that. This is so fresh, new, and a lot of people are writing.
I'm just going to say here that the Qatar Sheikh Jassim has informed the Glazers that control Manchester United that he will not improve his bid to acquire the iconic soccer club for more than 6 billion. People familiar with the matter said.
And this is the problem when it comes then to the review, because if then the stories are true that under Sir Jim's deal he's valuing the company at $7.1 billion, that inherently makes his share to dollar to share value higher than Sheikh Jassim's, so it gives them the legal ability to pass it through the boards. Doesn't matter if it's money up front or it's money down the line. If his bid is inherently bigger in a share value sense, they don't have any legal ramifications then at that point. They can easily say to you, the shareholders, eventually you will get paid this money and it's the best long-term option, rather than us cashing out now and you getting less money per share when the value of the club, we believe, could increase in 3 or 4 years and you get more money per share. That is how I'll tell you, they'll probably use them exact words in the strategic review document, because Sheikh Jassim's not willing to go to that level.
Was it a tweet or was it an article?
An article.
Okay.
Didn't you see the link?
No. Where did you post it?
It's in the chat, and I send it to you on WhatsApp.
Oh, my WhatsApp. Okay. So I just want to be able to pull that up as well, so we can have a look at it together as a community. So that's what it is.
It's almost, his deal just sounds like a very bigger, complicated version of an earnout. That's what he's proposed.
Okay, let us just focus.
Could you send me that there? Could you send me that link as well on WhatsApp? Because I can't see it in the comments. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm on my tablet.
I will send it to you, Paul White. Hang on a second.
Yeah, maybe because I'm on my tablet, I can't see it properly.
Yeah, I send it to you right now, and I will then pull it up to the jumbotron as well. People, bear with me, and I will add this to the screen as well. Boom! Thank you so much for your collaborations. This is written by Aramband Sen, the same person that wrote about the exclusivity, was backing himself, saying that there was just written just now about. half an hour ago or so. Qatar Sheikh Jassim refuses to raise 6 billion Manchester United bid, sources say. October the 14th, Qatar Sheikh Jassim bin Hamad Al Thani has informed the Glazer family that controls the Manchester United PLC that he will not improve his bid to acquire the iconic soccer club for more than 6 billion. People with familiar matters said. The move leaves the remaining bidder, Manchester United Ineos chairman Ratcliffe, in a stronger position as he's offered 25% stake in the club, allowing some of the Glazers to cash out, and it remains unclear where he will be clinch. It will be unclear whether he will clinch an agreement. That's what it says.
Yeah, I agree with Reuters' approach here. They're not being as ballsy as what Bloomberg are doing it. They're approaching it in the same way, but they're inherently saying the same thing. If Sir Jim's valuation is naturally higher, doesn't matter what payment structure you're talking about, they're generally going to take that, especially if it means some of them can stay on. It's the way these type of deals goes. And if you want a perfect example, this is the perfect example that Sir Jim. It's the perfect maneuver that Sir Jim did to stop the Qataris owning the F1 team, Mercedes.
I will give you my personal take on it. Like, you know, when I see Aaron Benson writing, he hasn't been writing like Ornstein, stuff like that. They only write when they feel confident. What I've seen lately by Bloomberg has been a lot of clicks, and it's same. I mean, all the respect to David Hellier, I wouldn't say anything else, but the same person's been going on a certain, like, you know, fan camps and trying to make a name of himself. And this is part of the sensational news in a way. Well, we always try to sort of look at more to it, like dig deeper, like, you know, you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, the problem with that is David Hellier has a name. David Hellier has a name in the business world. His name is massive. He doesn't need to do the click.
If I may land, so what I'm trying to say, it is too early to cry wolf until we get more stories coming out confirming certain things, right? So we have one saying that he's pulled out, and then he hasn't pulled out, and it's the same thing that went out 3 months ago to say he will not increase his bid, right? Same thing that was published on the 4th of June, that he's threatening to pull out. He's not going to increase his bid because he feels that he's put an extensional bid that is more than enough, that's met the valuation, right? And again, there is a board end of the year financial evaluation happening very soon, where you have to present those to bidders. And
unfortunately, if he has pulled his bid out, they only have to present Sir Jim's bid. If he said no, but I'm going by what Bloomberg said. He increased his bid. Well, Bloomberg didn't say increased his bid. Actually, it was Mike Keegan and all them were saying that the Qataris did increase their bid, and it got rejected by the Glazers. So he pulled his bid out, because if he's increased his bid by 400 million and they're still rejecting it, if Sheikh Jassim was to come along and match Sir Jim's valuation of $7.1 billion,
it doesn't make sense. If they increase the bid, it's more money to the Glazers. Yeah. Why would they say no to money?
Because they're going to be getting more money down the line. And remember, there's not an impasse between Sheikh Jassim and price. What there is you have an impasse in the Glazer family of people that want to be here and people that don't want to be here. Sir Jim's bid covers both aspects.
How are you going to buy out the 4 siblings? So basically, that money is going to buy out the 4 siblings.
The 25% is the first step. It's a buyout over time. Like most multi-billion pound companies are bought over years, not months. They're bought structured buyout. Yeah.
Okay, so basically, buy now, pay later.
How business deals are constructed around the world. It's very rarely you get somebody that has 7-8 billion pound in cash that they can throw at a company. Most, like United was bought by the Glazers over time.
Can we do something right now for everyone that's watching right now? Instead of just panicking, just play hypothetical that it might be Ineos that wins the bid. What does this mean I mean, you and me, we discussed this before. Like, okay, 25% you buy it now, and then gradually you buy everything else out. But the loan doesn't disappear. The credit is still there. The debt is still there.
The loan and the debt will still be there until the point of when Sir Jim takes a controlling stake. The second that Sir Jim has a controlling stake in that company, the loan obligations are activated because there's been a change of control in the club. So once he hits enough voting share to be the dominant minority holder of the club, that loan agreement is activated. So as I say, this is a way for him to put higher valuation on the table and do it over time. So say, for instance, he buys the 25% now, and in 2 years' time, he finds out a way of getting higher voting shares, and he gets to that 51%, and he becomes the ultimate voting holder, shareholder. So he has, like the Glazers, 90% of all the voting rights, or even 51% of all the voting rights.
There's no guarantee.
Yeah, there's no guarantee of that, but that's what I'm saying. If that does happen, that's a change of control, and then the debt has to be refinanced and repaid.
Swedish Rumble, if you're watching, if you're watching, because I remember.
Yeah, he's saying it's impossible, but they may have a way to do it. They may turn around. Joel and Avram may turn around and say, if you could get them on, because there clearly is something in this deal that nobody's thought about, because the Glazers, I don't think, would take it, neither would Sir Jim offer it unless there was a form of control.
Guys, continue. I'm just going to call Swedish Rumble to see if he can come on. Hang on a second.
Yeah,
sure. I can ask Paul a question, because a couple of days ago, Bloomberg came out and said that the Manchester United owners Glazers family are set to hold a board meeting within days to discuss a fresh proposal from Sir Jim Ratcliffe, and that was on Friday, I believe. So do you think they have had that board meeting, or wouldn't it be weird for the Qataris to withdraw before they had the board meeting?
As I said, generally you would inform the board before you say you're going with the offer. The Glazers are in a unique position that they are the board, they are the majority shareholder by a very far distance. So if their communication to Rain Group is, we want to go with the Sir Jim bid, they don't have to have that board meeting to confirm it to all shareholders. They can easily, Rain Group can say to Qatar, they're going to go with Sir Jim. And Qatar said, rather than it going to the board meeting and this strategic review document coming out and saying, we have taken the Sir Jim bid over the Qatar bid, he's gone, I'm out, because now the strategic review document would say, we've gone through this bidding process. There was one bidder that was looking for a full 100% buyout, and there was one bidder looking for a minority with an ease to buy out over time. The bidder that wanted 100% pulled out of the process. We, as Manchester United's board, had no other option, and we believe that the Sir Jim deal was the best option for all shareholders. So it makes it look like it was a Qatari decision, not a Glazer decision. He knows if he had upped his bid by £400-500 million, and they were saying, Rain Group were communicating, they're probably not going to accept that. He knows he doesn't want to pay way over the odds. You know, he obviously didn't want to pay way over the odds. As I say, Mick is right, you have to wait for these confirmations, but logic speaking, in business terms, the timeline fits. The timeline almost fits perfectly.
Yeah, okay.
As I said,
you're saying that the Glazers just have to talk among each other before they take a decision when it comes to this.
Yeah, because they have the ultimate share. They have to confirm it in a board meeting that the decision's been made. That's why the rumours about the board being next week. But if they've made a decision, they have 14 days to have that board meeting and inform the SEC. So that 14-day clock could have started from today when Sheikh Jassim's pulled out, or when they accepted the third. Yeah, if he has pulled out. If he has. But I think everything is pointing to, this is not like previous times. This is very reputable people coming out at the exact and confirming it very quickly. And all reporters singing from the same hymn sheet. When we talk to Qatar, when we talk to 9-2, they said they couldn't talk because of legal reasons. And the fact that Rain Group and United and the Glazer representatives have declined to comment, rather than saying we're in a process, they have declined to comment. These are all telltale signs that the news that has been broke is genuine. Like, I mean, every business you look at, these are the telltale signs. When there's no comment from the winning side, and the other, as in, we don't want to make a comment, and the losing side is basically saying, we're not in a process, but we can't talk about it. That's what they're saying. We can't talk about it now. That's a big telltale sign.
Okay, well, listen, I just called the Swedish Rumble. He didn't pick up. If you are listening, mate, I'm sorry. Extra call meeting, but he also tweeted like he's never seen anything, highly unlikely stuff like that. But if he, for some reason, pulls this through, this is a very smart plan. I've never seen anything like it. You're basically going with zero money, almost with nothing, like a Glazer's leverage buyout. Same instrumental. You're offering like 1.5 billion right now. He has cash right now on the table, and then then within 4, 5, 6 years, potentially, I will take full requirements of the whole club, right? 100%.
I think he's using cash. I think he's using cash for this 25%.
Well, I think it seems like it's just a loan. I give you, like, we are in desperate need for.
No. What I'm saying, he's paying these shares in cash. I think this is a perfect deal for him because he's looking at the financial loan situation at the moment.
Just want to comment, Paul Grease. Appreciate my optimism. It's not optimism, Paul. It's just, I am not falling by. I as an independent journalist, I like to have everything put on the table before I can actually commit to something. Now, what we're doing here in this podcast is just to look at different alternatives, and what we're doing here within the global fan base is to discuss, right? Does it have legs? Doesn't have legs? Well, I guess we will find out at the end of the day, like, as soon as we get more confirmation stories. What we've done here is to look at what Reuters are saying. Reuters are saying just basically Qatar Sheikh Jassim refuses to raise 6 billion bid. He refuses to up his bid. Same story was the same 3 months ago, exactly the same, that he's threatening to withdraw the process. Now, has he withdrawn? Because Bloomberg and Fabrizio Romano are saying that he hasn't withdrawn, but it's kind of threatening to withdraw. It's more like a gamemanship. All I'm saying is we're seeing these stories recycling over and over again. Like
this is a completely. I'm sorry, Mick. This is a completely different story. Bloomberg have said in black and white in their headline, Sheikh Jassim is withdrawing from the situation. It is a realization we need to come to. He has withdrawn. They would not be putting this up unless they have.
I wouldn't say withdrawn until you have a formal statement of withdrawn. That's the thing.
Because he can't do a formal statement of withdrawal because he's in an NDA process, and till that document comes out from the strategic review.
If it's an NDA process, how did they find out that he's been withdrawn?
Leaks happen. That's what I'm saying. It's how you.
And why does leaks happen?
Because you're dealing with
the question why, how, when, what.
Okay,
right?
I'll put it down in layman's terms. Yeah, I'll put it down in layman's terms. We look at this deal. You're dealing with four parties, Glazers, Rain Group, 9-2 Foundation. Each one of them parties has a lawyer firm that works for Cayman Islands, one that works in London, in New York for the New York Stock Exchange, and a lawyer representation in the UK for the UK side business. So you theoretically have at least 9 lawyer offices working on this deal. You also have four financial bank institutions working on this deal. At some point when you get close to a process coming to a close, the leaks happen because things change. Processes shut down. Lawyers are being told in the 9-2 Foundation, your services are no longer required. We're not working on this deal anymore. This is how this news breaks down. They don't wait for the thing.
So you're telling me that the leading bid has always been Sheikh Jassim. That's been reported. They asked Ratcliffe to reconstruct his bid. He's reconstructed and submitted the bid. So what has happened is his bid been accepted by Rain Group. It's been accepted, and they're now evaluating, comparing those two. And
no, they're not evaluating. What's happened is Sheikh Jassim's reacted and put more money on the table, and he's been told that money is not enough. Well, that's Bloomberg the other report coming up.
Does Reuters say that?
No, but that is what.
I don't agree with you, because Reuters didn't say that. Reuters said Qatar Sheikh Jassim refuses to raise 6 billion Manchester United bid. Right? But that's two different stories.
Yeah. But
do you want me to pull them up again?
No, but in the Reporters report, he does say that the Sir Jim valuation is higher than $6 billion. Does he not? In the Reuters report, they said something about the Sir Jim bid being valued at around $6 billion, or was that in the Bloomberg report? Can't remember which one.
Nobody really knows what the figure is. I think it's all. I tweeted this earlier today. The expectations, the narrative, the figures, it's all coming down out from the press. Nobody really knows because it's been fluctuating figures. So until
So there's now reports coming out that the board are having a meeting to validate the Sir Jim thing, and these sources are coming from the football club because the board are now being involved.
they are
And that is another.
validating, he has restructured his bid. He submitted his final restructure, so they have to validate. I wouldn't say we talked about this. You correct me. I couldn't say prop, but you said it's the. What did you say? I couldn't say that word. It's that responsibility to do so.
Yeah, it's a responsibility. But then, yet again, this is the problem. We do not know how long the Radcliffe bid has been on the table for. As I say, if for this situation to happen, for Jassim to pull out the way Bloomberg are reporting it, this has been on the cards for at least 2 weeks. Sheikh Jassim has probably been looking at this for 2 weeks and going, do I up my bid or not? He has upped his bid, but the bid has still not hit the valuation of what Sir Jim's valuation is.
Anything could happen, like, in this bidding process, but there's nothing to come out to say that Ratcliffe's bid has been accepted. It's been reported first that he's been restructuring the bid. That's all we can go on these reports, right?
But as I say, it's not being accepted on the boardroom level. But if it's been accepted on the Glazer level through the Rain Group, that inherently means it's going to be accepted on the boardroom level, because if they are the board and they are the majority shareholder on all accounts, they cannot be challenged on their decisions. So if Sheikh Jassim's being told this information, that they're still preferring the Sir Jim bid, even though he's offered 400 odd million, and they haven't said, oh, well, think about it. They're still just going, no, we still want to go with the Sir Jim bid. He's realised he can't offer what Sir Jim can offer. Now, Sheikh Jassim could easily come in, and this is why I don't understand why he hasn't done this. I don't understand why Sheikh Jassim hasn't not been stubborn and gone, okay, I'll leave Joel and Avram in for 3 years and I'll buy them out later. Why is he?
VR room, people, listen, just spread your opinions, let your feelings, what you're feeling regarding this. At the end of the day, I'm not putting my hand and finger on this until I have full confirmation what's going on here, right?
Well, the Athletic are now reporting as well that an agreement in principle has already been agreed with the Glazers and the Rain Group.
I just see here.
I don't really I don't trust the Athletic either.
I don't trust it either.
Romano,
no, it's what I said.
We make Sir Jim Ratcliffe now ready to buy 25% of Manchester United in the next days after Sheikh Jassim left the deal. United board will vote on 25% stake bid in the next days. Jim Ratcliffe wants supporting control and future major ownership after initial 25%.
Okay, we just have to wait and see.
Yeah, so that's what he would do. That's what he would do if he gets to 25%. The Glazers will dilute and issue shares, and these shares won't be A class or B class. They'll be investment shares. Sir Jim will put his 300 odd million, whatever he wants, into them investment shares under the stipulation that that money goes to the ground, the stadium, infrastructure. He will have control, because that you can legally put in a contract. You can say, I want this money spent this way. It happens all the time in business when it comes to green companies investing into other businesses. If a green company invests into, say, your factory, they can say, you can't spend this money in anything that's bad for the environment. You can only spend this money in green policies. This is what Sir Jim would do to get money into the club now to try and stabilise the club.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I think there's... I want to just close off this shop to say, like, how do I say it? I feel gutted if this is the case, but the truth will eventually come out sooner or later. And until then, it's if this happens, at least we need to question the clarity of the structure of this deal, 100%. But as far as I can see, there's conflicts, and as far as I can see, I will not sort of raise my opinion until everything is out, because that's who I am, right? What I'm trying to see is collect, from all these different sources, put it together, put it on the table, have a discussion as a community. What's plausible, what's not plausible, ITK, Mick, I'll go fuck yourself, mate.
You haven't said anything, ITK.
No.
You've just given your opinion. I don't understand. I haven't heard anything here that's ITK knowledge. I haven't heard anybody here saying, I know this, I know that. I've heard questions and asking
No.
and digging into the information. That's all I've heard. I haven't heard anything ITK.
Yeah, seriously. Like, I am upset as you, mate, that wrote this. Of course, I want what's best for the club, you know. And
this isn't what's best for the club.
one thing that we always been about is to say, like, you know, green and gold until we're sold. Like, you know, we were holding the fort here. We were supporting the Glazer out protest. We were the only channel that was covering this, and we keep holding the fort, right? What could happen is we are not the Glazers. We don't live in the Glazers' mind. We don't know what they're going to accept or not accept at the end of the day. True, right? But if this is true, then it's actually, the way I see it, Paul, I don't know. This is even the worst outcome unless we have clarity of the structure.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm waiting on. I think this bid is probably the second worst option, because the worst option is a no sale scenario. If this bid involves Sir Jim being able to get control of the club, it's not the worst case. It just means we're in limbo for maybe 2-3 years until he actually has proper control over the club. I want to see, and plus, the only beauty of this thing is this deal is in the public company, so they'll have to express if there is agreement, if there is a situation where he will be gaining control over a moment of time. So I'm hoping
I'm deeply disappointed because you know, we don't want Glazers in here. We have a freaking big massive super chat on $50 US. Big up Freddie to come in with $50 US in super chat, and you say there's only one way Sheikh Jassim comes back to the table and seal the deal. Public backlash from the fans that could make Jim Ratcliffe pull up because the protection of his image reputation is in the fans now.
Legally, he can't come back in. He's pulled out of the process.
What Freddie's trying to say is a big up first and foremost, Freddie, for your super chat. We really appreciate it. But what you're trying to say, it's up to the fans as well to protest even more, you know, because this is even worse, right? You're not clearing the debt. You still remain in the Glazer family in the club. If you're a Manchester United boyhood fan, then you can't ever want to say that you're a Manchester United fan, Ratcliffe, because, you know, if you're a Manchester United fan, you would understand the feelings within the global Manchester United, and this is definitely going to hurt your brand.
I can tell you the PR line right now. The PR line for Ineos and Sir Jim will be: the Glazers never wanted to 100% sell United. This was the only option we had to eventually get control of Manchester United. And when books are written about this takeover in the future, if Sir Jim does gain control of Manchester United, that will be mentioned. Qataris couldn't buy United with money. I had to use my brain. The story writes itself.
No, as said, this is so fresh. We need to wait before we point the fingers. It's always like that. It's always when something happens, you just have to wait instead of react, right? And this is the best way. I don't know. This is how I deal with it. Even if we lose a game, I need to reflect 24 hours to think fresh and to see what's going on there. Like what's more is coming out here. This is just fresh from the press coming out, right? Jarvis, what you saying?
Yeah, I just want to say, you know, when it comes to like newly tweets from Fabrizio and Laurie Whitwell about the board will vote on the 25% stake bid and stuff like that, those were news 3 days ago, and now they're just republishing the same tweets. We knew this, but
there was going to be a board meeting. Yeah. The board meeting was most likely scheduled to finalize the end of year documents, because that needs to be signed off in a board meeting. So whether now, because if it's true that Sheikh Jassim has pulled out of the bid, that board meeting could be to confirm the end year financials and confirm the outcome from the strategic review. So that time scale suggests there was always something why our end of year review was delayed. This could be the reason why. This could have been on the cards for the last 2 weeks and nobody has known about it until the last couple of days.
I still remain strong on this article that just says totally different from Reuters and Aaron Benson.
Could you scroll down that article a second bit to where he talks about the Sir Jim bid? Because I want to see if he mentions the valuation for the Sir Jim bid.
Oh, maybe I should just zoom in a second. It's on 67%. Can we all read it then? Because basically, he says here, first figures the 6 billion bid. He refuses to raise the 6 billion. You can read the headline. So it's already a 6 billion bid on the table put in. Okay. So this is written October 14th today. Qatar Sheikh Jassim bin Hamad Al Thani informed the Glazer family that controls Manchester United PLC that he will not improve on his bid to acquire the iconic soccer club for more than 6 billion. People familiar to the matter said. The move leaves the remaining bidder of Manchester United Ineos chairman Jim Ratcliffe in a stronger position, as he's offered to buy on only 25% stake of the club, allowing some of the Glazers to cash out, and it remains unclear whether he will clinch. It remains unclear if he will clinch an agreement.
Yeah,
this is what Reuters is saying.
Yeah, there was a bit more. If you scroll down, there's actually more to it, I think.
Oh yeah, the exact value that Ratcliffe's bid infirms on Manchester United could not be learned, but the sources said it was higher than Jassim's offer of more than 6 billion. Manchester United is currently valued by the stock market of 3.3 billion. Jassim also promised to invest 1.7 billion in Manchester United after acquired it. Still wants a deal, but has informed the Glazer family that there is no point in remaining in the bidding process following the 9 months of unsuccessful negotiations, sources said. So basically, he's not going to increase his bid, and if they're not going to accept it, he's willing to walk away. Is that it?
Yeah, so basically, if he's not hitting Sir Jim's valuation for money now, if he ups his bid to Sir Jim's valuation, maybe the Glazers would have accepted that. But if he's saying he's not willing to do it, he's basically pulling himself out of the bid. There's no consideration when it comes to a boardroom
It's basically
level.
take it or leave it.
Yeah, and if they've said no thanks, he's pulled himself out of the offer then. Because for his bid to be considered in parallel with Sir Jim's, they have to be at the same valuation on a board level, because it doesn't matter what the terms are. The bottom line is how much per share dollar value do the shareholders get.
Okay, guys, I think it's time to close this shop. I think as well. No point of. I mean, let's get together again when we have more meat on the bone, if I may say so, because I'm dying to understand in that case what he's done a Houdini act. What is this deal structure? If it's Ineos winning this bid, I'm dying to understand what is all about.
You're not the only one. Everybody's worrying. Everybody's wondering. Experts are wondering what he's put in this bid. M&A lawyers couldn't tell you. People that have structured deals can't tell you what he's done.
Well, we will see. It's gamemanship at the end of the day, the way I see it as well. It's just to up the bid of the other one, and it's all about Glazeronomics, may I say so. But we are not the one that are accepting this bid. We are just basically presenting what's been printed out there without any accusations of being any IT case whatsoever. Because what we've been doing here for the past 10, 11 months, Paul, is basically having numerous of podcasts, looking at the finances, looking at the plausible solutions. And even Swedish Rumble will say, I've never seen anything like it to be taking place before. If he pulls this through, then I'm definitely, there's been some genius masterstrokes in that case. Yeah. But remember, it's green and gold. It's always going to be in green gold. I don't want the Glazers in this club. This is what's hurting me.
I think it's disappointment all around, if it is true. It's just we had the golden ticket, and the fat people at the table decided to eat it rather than use it.
All right, people. Thank you for tuning in. We've been trying to sort of, as a community, as a panel, to dissect things. And I don't know, what do we come to a conclusion? Is it better just to, hold your horses for a while and wait till further information? It's like some rumor said somebody died, and you don't know until you get the final confirmation that the person is dead. You know what I mean?
I don't think if the anything tells this story has gone around too big, too much, that the club have to comment on it. The SEC will demand a comment and a clarification.
Yes.
So I
SEC.
don't think we have to wait. I don't think we have to wait too long for that. To be totally honest, I think
coming.
next week we'll know. Next week we'll 100% know if this story is false, if it's true or false, because there'll have to be a statement.
So let's play hypothetically. If Ineos wins this bid, what do you think the fan reaction? Will it be massive protests, or do you expect them to come out to clarify the whole structure of this deal?
I think it depends. Yeah, I think it depends. I think if Sir Jim has put certain things into his 25% bid, like I'm buying this 25% stake, I'm also then investing 400 million pound in a share issue by the Glazers. That money has to be used for the club and only the club, and it cannot be used as profit margin, or it has to be basically used as investment. He controls how that money's used. And they also state that this eventual minority investment will lead to a full sale. I could almost stomach that. And I say almost, but I would still, if I was in Manchester, I would still go to Glazer out rallies until they're gone.
Ivo Bosic was saying, Ivo Bosic was mentioning something there. Will that mean that Ineos will still absorb the debt to Ineos?
No promises made.
No, not until he gets total control. Once there's a change of control in the club under the debt bond agreement, he has to clear it. So the debt will not be cleared until he gets a full voting control of the club. And once he reaches, so if he reaches 51% of all voting power in the club, the debt then has to be either refinanced or paid off. And when it's refinanced, it has to be refinanced off Manchester United's books and onto another company, or it has to be paid for in cash. That is a legal requirement in our bond agreements. And that bond agreement was 100.
And now I am very skeptical. Now I'm talking as a fan. And I think that most of you would agree that we don't want any debt. We want that debt cleared.
Yeah.
We don't want... Wait, can I finish? Now I'm angry to be safe. Am I allowed to be angry? Now,
of course.
That means that he's going to give money to the Glazers, 1.5 billion. They're desperately needing cash. The question what we need to raise, and this is the truth, where is this money going? Is it going into the club, or is it going to the Glazers' pocket? First,
it can't go into the club.
What?
Can't go into the club. Can't go into the club. That's a share sale. So you have two situations. They are selling shares that are already existing. So that money doesn't go into the club. What Sir Jim would have to do in the deal is what he'd have to agree in the deal is the Glazers then take their shares and issue new shares that he invests in. And that money has to go into the club. So if you do a share issue, that money has to be used for club purposes. It can't be pocketed. So the 1.5 billion for the 25%, actually all that doesn't go to the Glazers. It's mad. It's angry. It's infuriating.
Paul, these fuckers sit at the same dining table at the Davos Club. They know each other. This basically one giving the other one a 1.5 billion loan. Here you go, mate. You know.
Well, I don't think it's a loan. I think there'll be.
This is just me losing my shit out of the normal as a fan.
To calm you down, Mick, I think if Sir Jim was going down, this is not like a minority investment company coming into Manchester United. If he's giving this money to the Glazers at 25% and giving them 1.5 billion, there's going to be very, very strict rules and obligations put into this that within so many years, Sir Jim will become the majority shareholder and voting power shareholder in Manchester United. He would not enter eventually. And that is the worst outcome, because what that means is, yes, we will eventually get rid of the Glazers and control the club, but the club is going to be left in limbo. So there's two things I want to see in this deal when it comes out to where I can maybe stomach it. One is that Ratcliffe has 100% guaranteed to take control of the club within a certain time period. And two, that money for a share issue is going to be paid for by Ratcliffe now and put into the club for either infrastructure payments, doing something with the training ground, fixing up Old Trafford for the meantime, and getting it so it's habitable, so it's up to scratch. And then later on down the line, he has to have a plan to say, once I gain full control, I'll build you a new stadium. Ineos will build a new stadium, whatever, or we'll completely rebuild.
Yeah.
If them two things aren't in an agreement and it's just a straight 25% purchase, I will go crazy. because that then is the worst case scenario. Because
Okay.
if it's just a straight 25% purchase, the Glazers could be here for the next 10 years in full control.
Round the table. Who wants to go? Talk to me, Mark. What's your general feelings before we close the shop? Round the table.
Well, it sounds pretty legit in the way he explained it. You know what I mean? I'm not a professional on
Big up,
takeover
Paul.
and as and whatever, so it's just what I've been reading about, and he's explained it perfectly. I'm understanding really well in the way he's explained it, so I can't really say, well, maybe there's a tactic for Sheikh Jassim or something like that. But I can't hype this bit because I can't really support it. I think it's ridiculous in the end of the day. You know what I mean?
I cannot
Keeping the
support
Glazers
this
here
either.
in any way, shape, or form is a
No, no
disgrace. It's
shape or form.
like if I mean I could sit here and say if I was a billionaire, but if I was a billionaire, I still wouldn't get in bed with the Glazers. I mean, it's like you can't be a fan, a lifelong fan of the club, and watch what they've done and be like, oh, I'm going to do business to get the club over a 10-year period. Already, you're going to make an enemy of yourself to the fans. So how is the club going to go become profitable again? Because the whole reason we end up in this situation is because the Glazers are the enemy of the fans. So the fans don't spend money. Imagine we have a billion fans. A billion fans. If we sold a billion, bro, we could even print a billion shirts in one season. I mean, like, I'm just saying, we have a
Yeah.
billion fans and half and three-quarters of them don't spend money because the Glazers. So same
I think
thing.
People in the
my friend
people in
described
the
it in the
vi-
perfect way.
Go ahead.
Sir Jim Ratcliffe with this deal has literally put a knife in the back of every single Manchester United fan.
It has.
He stabbed us all in the back. That's what he's done with this deal.
People in the VR room, let us know your feeling.
Hmm.
Smash a one if you are feeling very stabbed in the back. Two, if you think that this has a continuation, that it ain't over till the fat lady sings. On a positive note, yeah.
Yeah.
Jarvis Cocker.
Yeah, I just want to ask Paul one thing while I have him here. If Ratcliffe gets 25% and they want to clear the debt, and they issue new shares to alleviate debt, will it not dilute the ownership of the Glazers' existing shares? So it won't happen as long as they are in control.
Yes, but they can put prerequisites into that. So what Sir Jim is basically saying now is you dilute your shares, and that is coming out of the valuation of the money I eventually pay you down the line. So their valuation is not going to be affected by them dilution of shares. So basically, what Sir Jim's saying, if you want this higher valuation, you want me to invest into your business, you're going to have to put something into the business. So the share issue is them basically, for the first time ever, putting money into the business. And I think that has been a staple, because this is what every other minority investor has said is, why would we invest in your company if you're not going to put that money into the business and you're just going to walk away with it? So his whole thing would be, do you want an extra $1 billion? You're going to have to give 300 million of that up and invest it into the company. So basically, they're only getting an extra I say only, we're talking about $700 million. But that is the way it would work. Or Sir Jim may be saying, if I took over the company, I'd be putting this £300 million anyway, so I'm just going to put it in early, but I need guarantees I will get eventual control of this company. So that, as I say, Mick is right. We can speculate, we can judge on it right now, but until we see that deal in front of us, I cannot comment. But my first feeling is it's a horrible deal for Manchester United, and it's a horrible deal for the Manchester United fans. And I don't even think anything he picks in that deal would change my mind. It may make me stomach it a little bit more, but I will never accept that deal compared to what we should have had, what we could have had if we actually had competent people that didn't just care about money and actually thought, give this business over to the Sheikh and let him make this business grow. It's the best things they could have done to us.
Right.
I think personally, before you continue, Jarvis, I will say my final word on this one, but I want to hear from your opinion as well. Your thoughts and feelings from a realistic perspective. I mean, what we've done here is to summarize in this podcast is that we've taken every bits and piece of information we have discussed within our panel, within the viewers tuning in, and always prepare for the worst outcome. But at the end of the day, what I wanted to say, it ain't over till the fat lady sing. That's what they say in Oprah, right? So exactly what you said,
I have to head
Paul.
here, guys. Here anyway. So thank you very much for having me on, Mick. I'm
You're
sorry if I
welcome, Paul. Thank you
derailed it.
for
I'm
coming
sorry
in.
if I derailed. It's a lot of
You did
information I
no,
had to get
no,
out
no,
of my head.
absolutely not, Paul. It was an extra called meeting. You arrived on time, and we appreciate it. So big up to you,
I will
mate.
catch
And
you later. And guys, I
got
hope
you.
maybe we get better news in the next couple of days. And
That's what I wanted to say.
part of me hopes that happens, but then the brain inside of me is telling me it's not. But thank you, guys.
We'll see. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you,
Catch
Paul.
you all
Thank you.
later.
Appreciate it so much. Thank you, Paul. Take it easy. Ladies and gentlemen, there was an extra call meeting with Paul White as well that came in on time and shared his views. And we all have our views. We all have our opinions. We are here to sort of digest, the news, as a community, as I said, unpack it, see what's, what's real, what's not real. And Reuters is saying one thing, Fabrizio Romano is saying another thing. Big up to all of you. I still didn't hear from Jarvis' opinion, but I would say that, I personally need to have more information that will come out in the next couple of days. As per usual, something comes out, and then somebody else will come back within the 24 hours and say this is not true. We've seen it happen so many times before now. They're still in it, they're still out, they're still in it, they're still out. So it's the ongoing saga of the takeover, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But don't let this destroy your weekend, people. Just be cool and composed. Wait for it. Don't sit around on social media staring blind at it. But if this is the winning bid, if this turns out, just prepare yourself that we have the right to question this bid. We have the right to understand what is the structure. For me, it's always been green and gold, glazes out. And if they are remaining in power, nothing has changed.
No.
Nothing has changed.
The fight continues.
The fight continues, yes.
Yeah.
Jarvis, take it away.
I just want to say I read up a little bit about how Ineos or Sir Jim Ratcliffe are planning to remove the debt of the club, and they have discussed moving 3/4 of the debt over to Ineos, like bake it into their company, and they will pay the last remaining 1/4 of the yearly revenue of the club, and they have a plan to get the club debt free before 2025, I believe I read. So not all
That's
hopes
the
are
old
lost.
that's the old manifesto, or
Yeah, it's the old manifesto.
but will it still old manifesto be valid even if they have restructured to 25%?
I don't know, but this was stated 22nd of September, so it's not that long ago.
Okay.
So we will see what's going on. We will probably have more clarity as we have more info in the next couple of days, I hope.
Yeah.
But my personal opinion on this is I will just wait before I blow my fuse. I feel a little bit anxious and angry at the same time because of this. It's not easy. All of the United fans, we have betting all hopes on the Qataris to free us from the Glazers, but now we will still be in prison the next 3 to 4 years at least, or maybe more. Who knows? Because we can't trust the Glazers. That's the biggest problem. They are ruthless. They will do whatever they want as long as they can make money. That's how they reign. We know this for the last 18 years. So I will hold my my thoughts
best.
before
That's
I
the
know
best.
more.
That's what I agree with, and that's why I actually wanted to say also myself, but I lost the words. I'm exactly like you. I hold my powder dry until we have further information, to say. But we don't know. At the end of the day, for me, it sounds like Ineos in that case taking off. Sir Jim Ratcliffe is taking the driver's seat and letting the Glazers sit in the back seat, right, while he's driving the car for a couple of years. They're along for the ride, but doesn't mean that they have. It's going to be interesting to see if this is the case. What will be the sporting project division and all that stuff, right? I'm not going to downplay it, but I don't like it. And until I don't have full clarity of the situation, I'm not going to voice my opinion. I'm going to keep my powder dry. And at the end of the day, what we've done here today as a community is just to discuss the different outcomes and look at the different stories. And, as per usual, applying logic and reasoning and, trying to, talk about it cool and composed. But at the end of the day, I'm a fan like you and I have emotions. I don't want to see the Glazers here, It's part of the whole movement. So let's just stay cool and composed and see what happens, people. Right? Guttering. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Cannot
just
lie.
checking out because Paul mentioned that the stock exchange is closed on Monday in the New York Stock Exchange, but I can't see that. I think he's wrong. I think it's open, so we will see a reaction on the stock market on Monday. The stock will probably plummet, but in a way, for stock for shareholders, when you think of it, as long as there's new owners coming in with the plan, maybe the stock will hold its
Well,
valuation.
I'm thinking one thing only, like, if they haven't read the room, if the elephants haven't read the room, based on what all the allegations and all the scandals that's been around the club, or about handling certain situation, and now this, I mean, if you haven't seen protests yet, I do expect this to have a 10.4 on the Richter scale higher. You know what I mean?
Mm, mm.
Therefore, just be cool and composed and wait till we have further information. It might be a smoking gun. It might be like, forcing the hand of for them to raise the bid, as what Reuters was saying. He refuses to raise more money. He feels like, okay, we've done a fair evaluation. It's more over the what you're actually asking for. And let's see. There's a lot of
Yeah,
things that needs to be clarified before a certain tweet, or certain articles. We need more information.
yeah. Can you go back to that tweet from Yala, or a comment from Yala? I think that's a little bit positive spin. The only good news I can see is Sir Jim getting full sporting control, and Mitchell, he's a good sporting director. If he will be our new DOF, and there will be funds for new transfers. So in a way, it's not what we hoped for, but maybe things will be a little bit better.
Yes, if you look at it from a positive side on that angle, yeah, as long as we are having a sporting vision and have a sporting operational, like the Glazers are not involved, they're on the back seat, and Sir Jim Ratcliffe, gets his sporting people in place, we actually start playing good football and recruiting the right type of people there. Maybe that is kind of a way you can stomach it, right? But
Yeah.
the fact is that you still have those greedy bastards like lingering in the background, that's been there, like, raping the club for the past 18 years. It's just that which disgusts me, right?
Mm.
Anything else feels fake. But at the end of the day, we are a sporting club. We're here to support the team. And if we start winning again under new structure, new ownership, we all want new changes. We all want to see a club win again, trophies. But under what cost?
Mm. One question, Mick. We had a super chat. Can we bring that back again and read it out?
Yes, I'm not in control. Which
We,
one?
we didn't. We didn't read out. We had one big one from Freddie. Where is it?
Oh, Freddie, yeah, the big one from Freddie.
Yeah, we
Ah,
just we
okay,
just we just showed it on screen, but we didn't read it out. So I
we
think
did.
it's important. We did.
We did. Yeah.
Okay.
He
Well.
read
There
it.
was
Mick
two
read it
super
out.
chats in today. There was Nigel Flynn. Nigel Flynn was saying, I think right, Paul Bloomberg have twice already in 9 months have said a sale was imminent. I'm just so confused. Freddie was saying, big up for Freddie for his contribution. He was saying, there's only one way Sheikh Jassim come back to the table and seal the deal. Public backlash from the fans that will make Jim Ratcliffe to pull out because of the protection of his image and reputation. It's in the fans' hands now.
Yeah,
That's what he said.
actually, it's a good comment because it's what you're talking about, the protest. I think the protest will intensivate, and I think they haven't seen what the fan base can do. I think we are stronger than we have proven up until now.
Yeah.
We stopped the Liverpool game. I think we can stop a lot more games coming going forward, and I don't think the fan base will accept being cheated like this. I don't think they will accept the Glazers staying in control. So we will see what happens.
Yeah, big up, Freddie. Everyone that's tuning in, please enjoy the rest of your weekend. Don't let this bothering you. So far what we've seen is what we've seen. Let's wait for more further information. We will, if there's anything that we will find out more, we will definitely come in and have a chat as a community. I think I was destined to do a call in for everyone to have a say, but it's going to be too long, I guess. So big up to all of you. Big up for the super chat. Big up for the moderator, Miller Smitic. Forgive us for not saying dobro večer to you. Everyone that's tuning in, Stephanie Griffin, all the moderators, green and gold until we sold, bankers out, glazes out. That's what we're here for. Close the shop, close the chat, please. And nothing good about this deal at all. It was AK saying. So if we can close this VR room for now, and thank you all for tuning in. And what do we say, Jarvis?
Yeah, I just want to say on a day like this, we all love United and we all feel gutted. But it's just football at the end of the day. I know. So relax, have a glass of wine or watch a show on Netflix. Get your mind off it. Don't let it ruin your weekend, because we live to fight another day, and we'll never die. We Man United.
We will never stop fighting. 100%. Mark, what you gonna
All
do?
I can say is echo. I could just echo what Jarvis is saying, and I'm just probably gonna drink some wine, just like he was saying, and just watch something, and not even football right now because it's gonna be mad, But at the same
Anyway.
time, like, I have a little hope that there's some silver lining somehow, somewhere, maybe a miracle even in the dark. But for now, I'm just trying to.
I'm saying, Mark, he ain't over to the fat lady things. So I think I've seen a lot of smoking mirrors and stuff like that, smoking guns. So we will see. We will find out. We will find out sooner or later. There's a lot of question marks, and there's a lot of similar situation what we've seen during the sales takeover process. So I say take it with a pinch of salt a little bit, and don't let the bed bite you and stuff like that. But until we continue, guys, like and subscribe to this video if you want to. It's not mandatory, but here comes Bella to say goodbye as well. Thank you guys for tuning in. Bella, take it away.
Welcome back to Mufc Realist TV. My name is Bella. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up by smashing that like button. Subscribe if you have not done so yet.
She's not on form. She's been affected by the glazes, guys. Guys, good night. Take it away.
I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up by smashing that like button. Subscribe if you have not done so yet. If you want to take it to the next level, you can always show your appreciation to sponsor our channel by clicking below the video title, where you will see the heart icon with the text saying, thanks. Or you could buy me a cheeky little coffee by scanning this barcode, or visit this link to buy me a virtual coffee. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this content. Remember, glory, glory, Man United, Glazers out. It is green and gold until we are announced and sold. That was all from me. I wish you a good day and a great match experience, and I shall see you in the next video. Goodbye.
Thank you so much for stopping by and watching MUFC Realist TV. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us on the socials.